The funky music this morning. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wigtown Book Festival's breakfast show. We're over halfway through the Wigtown Book Festival now, and it's us, Ben and Beth, here from the Bookshop Band to host three very wonderful authors this morning for your literary delight. First of all, we're joined by Jason Webster, down in sunny Dorset, and then we have Stephen Rutt joining us from Dumfries. Is that right, Stephen?
Yep, sunny Dumfries for a change.
Lovely. And then we're also joined by Emma Hooper down in sunny Bath. Is it sunny there too?
It's sunny.
It's a full round of sunny. So.
I think it's not sunny in Dorset. I think that might be, Jason might be feeling a bit disappointed.
Actually, it's not too bad, but you can't see. Okay. I can see sunshine on your guys' faces, but there's none on me, I'm afraid. So never mind. Anyway,
actually, it's just lights. It's
oh, really?
Pro
oh, wow, very, very good.
We spare no expense.
We've blocked out the sun.
Yeah, we have actually. It's actually too bright. It's just like. So welcome everybody. We will play in our first author with a song, and the song we're going to play is a song we wrote inspired by. Oh, see if you can guess which one of you is going to go first. It's a song we wrote inspired by The Snow Goose by William Fiennes. Not William Fiennes, sorry, that's The Snow Geese. The Snow Goose by Paul Gallico. William mentions The Snow Goose in his book. But this is a song we wrote a couple of years ago when the Wildfowl and Wetlands Trust brought out this really beautiful edition with all Peter Scott's wonderful paintings and lino cuts in. And it's the tale of a snow goose who is brought to be, who is rescued after being falling down and shot on the marshes and brought back to health, but then goes out to save many people as a strange angel of a goose. That's a really weird summary of that book, by the way. But we're going to play the song we wrote inspired by it, which, if it goes well, is called Lean Into the Wind, and it's by us. And if it doesn't go well, because we haven't practiced it this morning, is by someone else.
I've only just remembered that I play ukulele in here, so it's just... I remember that bit.
Okay.
But I can't remember what that got. Maybe it's that. Oh, there we go.
Okay, got it. Great. Just in time. Here we go.
Within your
Our care is not a tether. Chances of coming here at all to this broken man, it was very small. Chances of coming here at all to these broken men, it was very small. So lean into the wind and sail this day that churns the water. We are done, for there's holes within your boat, but we are safe as we flow from slaughter on this shallow. So go below, but as you fly away, become the strangest angel ever seen above the waves. Those wings of yours will lift a heart with every feather. Hear the call, come here to save us all. Standing on this shore, we're not afraid at all. Hear the call, come here to save us all. Standing on this shore, we're not afraid at all. Come here to save us all. We're not afraid at all. So go below, but as you fly away, become the strangest angel ever. So go below, but as you fly away, become the strangest angel ever.
Thank you very much.
That was great.
Thank you. Oh, thanks, Stephen. So that was a song kind of about the restorative power of geese. Is that something? Have you read the book?
I have, yes. I introduced the film screening last year for Wigtown. It's a lovely book. It's really sort of emotional, moving, and it's set on the Essex Marshes, which is where I used to live before I came to Dumfries. So yeah, I have a sort of strong connection to that book. You're probably lucky that Paul Gallico wasn't around to hear that, because I think he sued the prog rock band that made a double album based on the book. So
Really?
Great.
That's so
Yeah.
yeah, we've never come across that problem. I mean, if we did, we'd probably be in trouble, wouldn't we?
Yeah, you probably would. Yeah. Luckily, we've never released that song, so
nice.
it's just yeah.
Just claim it was based on
Fine.
winter, and I'd let you off.
Oh, exactly.
Thank
We've
you.
changed a few of those lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking of our back catalogue. If we got into trouble with all of those songs inspired by books, then that could be an
that could be
issue.
tricky. Yeah. See you later, guys. See you later.
But Stephen, you're here to talk about your new book, Wintering. Can you tell us a bit about that?
So it was based around moving to Dumfries back in 2018. I don't know if you remember the summer of 2018. It feels so long ago at the moment, but it was an absolute scorcher down in Essex where I was living. By mid-May, everything had gone really parched and brown, and it was the most incredible hot summer. And then we moved up to Dumfries during Storm Alley that autumn, and it all sort of went downhill weather-wise from there. And And when you move, 300 miles north, there's that sense of what is happening? Why have I done this? Weather shock setting in. And then the first sunny day we had, we went for a nice walk around town, doing the Burns Walk around the town. And then we got back, and there was this skein of pink-footed geese. So my flat looks west, out towards the hills, and we just had this skein of pink-footed geese going through the most amazing sunset, and that was a really lovely moment. And then I suddenly started seeing pink-footed geese everywhere. I was standing in the council car park, having just dropped a council tax form off, and there was this skein of about 100 going over. And I've been a bird watcher for half my life. And I know the sounds that pink-footed geese make. It's a really wild sound that I associate with the Norfolk marshes and places like that. And here I was, stood in a car park, surrounded by buildings, hearing that sound. It was incredible to me. And then that autumn, we had the most amazing flights of them as they were passing from their roost on the Solway to the fields around the town to feed. And it was the most incredible wildlife spectacle that I could see from my living room. I didn't need to go anywhere to do. And that made me feel at home. And then, so I had this newfound love of geese. I'd never been that into geese before, but suddenly seeing them on these spectacular flights every morning and every evening, it sort of sunk into me somehow. Birds have this capability of doing this to me. I'm vastly over enthusiastic about birds always, as you can probably tell from the background, the mug. So yeah, wintering was born out of that, and then I started going around the country, going back to Essex, Norfolk, Suffolk, along the Solway, sort of investigating the lives of geese and how people have reacted to them over time.
It's interesting you saying that experience of geese when you first arrived in Dumfries. And I remember when we were driving up, we were moving to Wigtown, and we were driving up around pretty much New Year's Day, well, New Year, a few years ago, 2017.
Yeah.
And one of the things I remember very much so is because we'd been to Wigtown before and we'd seen the geese, and we knew they were there this time of year. But when we were just coming up to the Solway, so you could see the Solway on your left driving up the motorway before you turn off at Gretna, there was just the biggest what they called of geese, not a flock, a
ski.
And just the biggest ski of geese just covering the whole sky. And I remember Beth and I kind of like it relating to that. It was such a kind of like, we knew those geese had probably flown over Wigtown, and it was part of it wasn't part of like life down in Bristol and Bath, but it was certainly, we knew it was going to be a big part of life of this place we were driving to. It was a beautiful sunset,
and it also felt like that you're it's a migration thing as well when you're moving and you're trying to find your home. So I think we can totally relate to that. And
there's something lovely and universal about a skein of wild geese flying over. Everyone sort of knows what it means, and it's that sort of motif that reoccurs throughout literature and time and cultures as well, which is it's just nice. It's just nice.
It's homely. You're homely yet in search of a home and finding a new home, and I guess their home is there, while they're flying. That's there because it's these amazing structures that they form, and that's just amazing to look at in itself.
So with your book Wintering, does that bring in your experience of moving up to Dumfries?
Yes.
Or is it more? Yes.
Yeah, it does. I'm incapable of leaving myself out, which makes me sound like a narcissist, but I'm not, honest. It's nice not to falsify the picture. This is my viewpoint you're getting, so might as well foreground the viewpoint so you know what's my viewpoint and what's not straightforward ontological fact.
Absolutely. And in Dumfries itself, there's a wild goose festival. This month. It's the 1st of October today, isn't it? So next.
It is. That's terrifying, isn't it?
I know. Sorry, everyone who might be a bit of a shock. It certainly was for me. So I know the 9th of October, all being well, I'm due to play at the Wild Goose Festival with Stuart McPherson, who has written many pieces of music around geese and the flight and migration, and particularly the Svalbard link. So
yes, so it's the Svalbard barnacle geese that fly every year, and the entire population of, I think it's about 40,000 barnacle geese on Svalbard, they spend the winter on the Solway Firth. And there was 140 when I went there last week at Calaverock, and very soon there's going to be thousands of them. And it's a really lovely spectacle. And I think Stuart chased, followed the migration from Calaverock to an island off the north coast of Norway where they sort of have a stepping stone to Svalbard. And from what I've seen and heard of it so far, it's an incredible piece of work. I can't make it to that event because I'm going up Wardlaw to see the pink feet coming in to roost over Wardlaw, which is an amazing little hill just by Calaverock, which is the site of, it's the old Clan Maxwell gathering point, which is quite nice.
Okay, and you
And
can't be
I'm
everywhere to see all the geese. So
no, it's a shame they scheduled those two events at the same time. I'm doing a thing on the 12th, a guided walk around the town with Nature Scott, going up and down the river. And on the 15th, I actually have a live event in person, in actual people, in front of actual people, which will be nice.
No, it should be.
I've forgotten what talking to actual people and not screens is like. So.
And is that going to be talking about wintering?
Yeah, I'm doing it with Patrick Laurie, the author of Native, which was shortlisted for the Wainwright Prize this year. We're in conversation with Tom Powell talking about curlews and geese and birds and connections and home and things like that. So it's going to be a really good evening, if socially distanced. So.
Yeah.
Yes. But like you say, nice to actually connect with people, especially about nature and the things that we've all been spending maybe more time with, but to actually connect and talk to people about it is going to be very special.
Nature means so much more when you're out there seeing it firsthand than it does watching it on the TV screen. Just like talking to people is so much more meaningful face to face rather than sort of from little chat boxes.
Yeah, absolutely. And but talking about screens and films, so Colin Tennant has been making some films for the Wigtown Book Festival, but he's done one involving you. Do you want to talk a bit about the films that he's been making? Yeah,
so the festival have commissioned me to write a book on Saltmarsh called The Saltmarsh Library, which is an amazing title. And like all amazing titles, I didn't come up with it. And it's about telling the story of the Wigtown Bay local nature reserve in the Saltmarsh and the stories that we get from that through the human history and the natural history and the birds and just that sense of place and ecosystem evolving. And in the summer, I think it was August, that feels so far away, Colin Tennant filmed me and Elizabeth Tyndall, the freelance ranger, for a day walking around the nature reserve and onto the marsh and the merse and the mud. And they're being released in little segments every day. We had the first one yesterday, the second one today. And they're really lovely little films. Again, I shouldn't say that makes me sound narcissistic, but Colin Tennant is an amazing filmmaker as well as being one of the nicest men on earth.
Yeah, we had him on the show yesterday, so people know that.
It's really, really beautifully shot, and I'm really, really pleased with how they look. So would definitely
recommend. You can find those on the Wigtown Book Festival website, and they're going to be going up there. There's some of his films already, and these ones are going up. Did you say tomorrow? I can't quite remember which.
I think the whole thing is going up on Sunday, but I think otherwise it's just going up in little chunks leading up to that.
Great. So do go and check that out, everybody, and also the Big Goose festival. I imagine parts of that will be online as well. So if you're miles away, do check out that, because there'll be wonderful on-screen windows into where we live, which is full of birds, and that's one of the things that we've been discovering for ourselves as we've moved here. But Stephen, thank you so much for joining us.
It's all right. Thank you very much for having me.
Good luck with your real live events coming up.
Thank you.
That's incredible. So now we'd like to move over to our second author of this morning, Emma Hooper. Thank you for joining us from your lovely studio in Bath.
Hi, good morning.
Huge room, lovely room. Is this your little writing? Is this your writing area?
Yeah, this is a writing nook. Yeah, I just made a new curtain. Can you see? I just made a new curtain because I like to pretend I'm in like a little nook, not just in like a massive one room that is the whole house.
It's got little fishes in. Does that mean that what you're writing is set under the sea?
No, the last book I wrote was set kind of under the sea. But no, the one I'm writing now isn't. But I'm much better at like cutting out fish shapes than cutting out like Roman legionnaire shapes.
Fair enough. Fish it is then. Yeah.
Fish it is.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Can I just give a bit of history to we've known each other for a long time, haven't we?
Yeah.
Emma, probably going back
Oh, wow.
to
I'm gonna fix my headphones.
no, 2006,
4?
7, something like that. 4?
I think like 4 or
Yeah,
5.
maybe.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, I have a piece of hair like
And,
sticking in my ear. There.
And we've played in a string quartet pretty much since that time. Maybe started off as a trio and evolved into a string quartet.
Yeah.
And we've played in many bands together over the years and played in pub sessions, folk sessions. And the latest thing that we've done together, it's mostly Emma that's done this, she's written a radio play, which is due to be aired on Sunday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, totally got that wrong.
Fine.
Tuesday, called Quartet for the End of Time. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Emma?
Yeah, so it's going to be on just BBC4 afternoon drama slot, which is I am really excited about it. I'm super excited about it. It's my first radio drama. I've written novels before and other things, but I've never written a drama. And so I was really excited. And I know that a colleague I used to work with, he'd done some. So I was like, I'm going to look up what Steve's done. I looked up and it's like, Steve has written more than 60 radio dramas for the BBC. And I was like, oh, well, my one doesn't sound so impressive anymore. But I'm still excited. It's one of 60 that will be the rest of my life.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it was totally different than writing a book, and I really enjoyed the juxtaposition of the two. Like there's like really tight deadlines, like 1 month to write the whole thing, including all the redrafting, and you're just working with so many more people all the time. Whereas writing a book, as I'm sure Jason and Stephen also know, you're kind of just in your little under the sea bubble and drifting around by yourself for years. So they're both good.
Do you think the deadline kind of helped to shape it, or was it just a bit scary having that deadline in place?
It helped to get it done, definitely. And it helped me to push other parts of my life away to say, oh, no, I actually have to do this now.
Like your children.
Like my children, yeah, particularly them. Physically pushing them away. Yeah. My friends, my children, all those bothersome things.
Well, I suppose with lockdown, I guess there's. Did you find that you had time to? I mean, everybody has different experiences with the lockdown thing. Did you find you had more time or less time to do things?
I had a lot less time at first when the schools and nurseries were shut, because I've got 2 little kids, as you know, and so I suddenly had a lot less time for working, a lot more time for going on really long walks with a lot of snacks, which is what we did every single day, which was wonderful, which was really great. But at the same time, there's this like little part in the back of your brain that's like, are you a writer? You're like, I don't know, maybe later. And then nurseries and schools opened up again, and no, I don't think I ever had more time, because I also teach at a university, and that's been interesting trying to move all that online. But yeah, we go on, and you find time, don't you? You always find time. So
yeah, and actually Emma's one of the most organized time-wise people that I've ever met probably in my life, because you manage to find time for work, for social stuff, for play. You have it sussed, I think, from an outside point of view.
Yeah, if you could just send us your calendar, Emma, and we'll just live our lives by that.
Well, it's because I multitask. So I'm like, well, this is my social event for the day, right? I'm seeing my friends. Great.
Done. Tick.
Done. Tick. Plus, I'm going to count this as work for the university. Yeah, it's
done. Tick.
Tick. Yeah, that's all.
Are you allowed to say anything about what the Quartet for the End of Time is about? Can people guess what it's about?
No one's told me I can't, so I will. People can guess. Go ahead. It's about a string quartet that can stop time when they play music together, and only when they play music together they actually, in a funny sci-fi kind of way, stop time. and exploring what that means and what that could mean and what they do with the power. And Beth plays cello in it.
It was very fun playing the little snippets that we had to do, and we had to imagine that we were, I don't know, like something really surprising had happened, so we'd have to play and then go, you know what? We weren't on screen, but you had to kind of do the facial expressions. It was hilarious. Wasn't it? It was really fun.
Especially because
Emma, you hadn't told the string quartet the story, so they were just sort of like acting under your what?
Surprise! Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course there's like actual professional actors doing the voices and stuff, which is also really funny to kind of put like, you know, the Beth, who plays you? Actually, Beth, you're probably the most closely aligned to your actor, but a lot of them were, you know, different genders, different races, different ages, to who we were. So that was fun. Yeah. Yeah, it was real.
That's cool.
It was real good fun.
And Emma, you were up here last year?
Before,
or the year before, and you were talking about your second novel that you brought out. Do you want to just say a tiny little bit about that novel, because I think that's going to be the song we play to you. Be nice to hear in your words about that.
That would probably be Homesick Songs. That's what you're talking about, aren't you? Yeah, Our Homesick Songs is what it's called, and it's a novel set in Newfoundland in Canada. There it is. And it's about, well, my publisher kind of disdainfully described it as a whimsical romp through the collapse of the North Atlantic cod fisheries, which is, you know, kind of what it is. It's about all the fish are gone, they're just all gone from the North Atlantic, including the waters around this little fishing outport in Newfoundland, Canada. And there's one family in particular that it looks at, and the little boy in this family, the 10-year-old boy, decides that it's his responsibility to get the fish back, and it kind of follows him and his sister as they go upon different paths to kind of try and save their community, and in his case, bring the fish back.
It was. So we'll play the song that we did an event with Emma where Emma teaches at Bar University.
Oh yeah.
When the book came out, I guess, and we've played. Emma also wrote Etta and Otto and Russell and James, which we've played that song this week already. So we thought we'd try and play the other one. And I mean, I'd love to hear more about your new book as well. But we'll play the song anyway, and it's called A Knot. A knot being the knots that I can't remember the name of the, was it the
Martha.
mother that does Martha? Don't know why I forget that. And she's very good at making the fishing nets. She's very knows how to tie the knots, and I won't say much about the song. I've got to remember how to play it.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Let's go for it. I'll tie a knot, I'll tie one for you, and I'll make you a net, I'll make you a net, and I'll bring a boat to carry you, for
tune, I'll play you a tune, and I'll row across the water, I'll play you a tune. Out where the fishes are gone for now, we call to another so deep and blue. A song for the sailors, a song for the sea, a song for you and a song for me. And will you be true to me, true to be true to yourself when the lights are all gone? Yes, I'll tie a knot, I'll tie one for you, and I'll make you a net, I'll make you a net.
Thank you very much. Really nice to connect and play that song again. Really nice to see you, Emma.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Yeah.
And cry up a song about my own book. That's good.
My dreadful guitar playing.
That's why I was crying.
Guitar. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's really nice to like. That's a song we haven't had much opportunity to play. Partly because we often can't tour with the electric guitar or tour at all. But it's really I absolutely love playing that, and so it's really nice. Really
Yeah.
nice to do.
So Emma, I'll probably see you for Film Club on Sunday, but Emma's also running a 40-mile, what do you call that? It's not a marathon, it's a 40-mile,
It's an ultra marathon.
an ultra marathon.
Ultra-marathon.
Emma's running an ultra marathon on Sunday, so
Good luck.
whether Film Club will happen, we're not sure. But please do
Very
listen
good.
on Tuesday to Quartet for the End of the Time.
What
by
time?
Emma
What
Hooper.
time is the end of time on Tuesday?
We'll see it in the time, so it probably doesn't really matter. But 2:15 p.m. or listen again
2:15.
on BBC iPlayer whenever you want.
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
excited.
Yeah, so am
Me
I.
too. I'm terrified.
Apparently, the recording quality of the quartet is just superb. I heard.
Oh yes, Ben did engineer the
Oh, I did,
project.
I did,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah,
we
sorry,
forgot
yeah,
to say
of
that.
course,
Ben
yeah.
stood in as a BBC engineer.
I did.
The best
It was
thing
so
about
nice to. It was our first experience of being in a room together, or you guys playing, but for me just sitting back and listening. And ironically, I spent the whole time with headphones on, so it was just like, I should have taken them off. Anyway, it was.
But yeah, it was quite an emotional experience. I think for a lot of musicians and people that are very used to just playing together. When we got back together, it was really lovely, wasn't it, to be
Yeah.
playing in the same room, because we've been also writing some music over lockdown in the quartet, passing on little snippets for someone else to play on, and so I'd write a bit, then Emma would play on it, and then Emma and Sue and Ian, the other members of the quartet, would play on it, and we'd each write a little bit. So we've now got 8 pieces maybe, but
Yeah.
that was
I
a
need to
new
finish
way
mine.
of writing for us, but to be in the same room was really special.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you very much, Emma. I look forward to hearing it on Tuesday. And now, thank you also to lots of people who've been joining us online. I've got a few people here. Heike, Ken, Karen, familiar people, friends who've tuned into our lockdown book shows. Karen Pierce, Joan Browning. Hi, everybody.
Sweden, got someone in from
Oh, yeah.
Sweden. I
There's a
can't
lot,
quite see.
yes.
Yeah.
I hope you. I sent you a box set the other day. I hope you got that. Thank you for buying albums, and if anyone else would like to, there are links in the description. There'll also be links to the authors' books, and they're available from the Wigtown Book Festival bookshop, as well as any other good bookshop around the world. So thank you. But onwards to our final author of this morning, Jason Webster. Jason, thank you for joining us.
Hi.
I was just when Emma was describing her
Hi.
writing, locking yourself in a way, I actually pictured you in a cafe in Valencia, just sunbeaming down, some nice tapas around there, writing away on the side. Is that your writing office?
Yeah, this is my shed, which I put up actually with Robert Twigger, who you guys know. We put it up in one day about 5 years ago, and it's been my writing shed
Still
ever since. So
standing?
yes, no, it's a bit cold. It's still standing. But it does get a bit chilly. But it serves me pretty well most of the year. When the temperatures
Books are
sort of drop
wonderful
below about 5
insulators.
degrees, I have to head into the house. Yes, so I found. And if they got more than 300 pages, they're good at stopping bullets as well, apparently. I read that somewhere.
Really?
Anyway,
Did
just in
Robert
case you
Twigger
ever
say
find
that?
yourself in that kind
Yeah.
of position. Yeah.
Right. What about hardback? Maybe down to
Actually,
200 pages
well,
for hardback?
probably was him. Yes, maybe. I think you're safe with a copy of the Bible or a dictionary, a good dictionary. You'd probably be fine with something like that. Yeah, you just got to get it in the right place.
Yeah, that's why we still need books, everybody.
Yes, to protect ourselves in more ways than one.
Absolutely, yes. A Kindle just
Jason,
wouldn't do it. Sorry, a Kindle
No,
won't stop a bullet.
as we know, there's a Kindle up in Sean's bookshop, which he tried with a shotgun, and it definitely goes all the way through. So if you want
That's
to come
right.
to Wigtown and actually
That's
just
right.
check out the proof, there's proof. So thank you for highlighting that, Jason.
There you
Jason,
go.
tell us about your newest book, which I believe is imminently coming out.
Yeah, actually, it sort of came out 2 days ago on Tuesday, so I'm pretty excited about it. It's a sort of companion guide to. So one of the things I do is write a series of crime novels set in Spain. So I'm always writing about Spain, but I kind of move around genres. I've done sort of history and biography and travel. But I've got 6 crime novels set in Spain, and they're all sort of centered around my detective, who is a sort of an anarchist, he works for the Spanish police force, as well as being an anarchist, which sort of creates a bit of a dilemma for him most of the time. So I decided to write a sort of companion guide to him and to the series, and it talks about Valencia, the city of Valencia. There are essays about him. There's an interview actually with the real, what you call the real Max Camera, who I had the honor of meeting actually a few years ago. The head of, I won't give too much away because there's a bit of a twist there, but this person is the head of the murder squad at the Valencia police force. I mentioned this to someone the other day, and they said, "Oh, do they have murder squads in Spain? I thought that was only in sort of like Brazil and stuff." So, but by murder squad, I mean the people who solve murders, not the people who do the murders. Yeah, and there's a photo essay in there. There's a whole series of his favorite proverbs. So Max tends to think. Actually, I've got a copy here. I keep looking at the book. Here it is, guys. Here it is.
Lovely.
So
Cover.
it's no, I like the cover. I'm really pleased with it. So one of the things that Max does, he often thinks in terms of traditional Spanish proverbs, which were taught to him by his anarchist grandfather.
I was going to say it's a very anarchist thing
and
to do.
they are just such an integral part of Spanish. Yes. Well, there's amazing wisdom I find in most traditional proverbs, and particularly Spanish ones. So he had his grandfather taught him all these, so often just sort of. He won't necessarily solve crimes through his proverbs, but somehow some sort of new light will be shed on perhaps a piece of evidence or what have you, based on just these sort of thoughts that just come pop into his mind, and they kind of clarify situations that he's in. Yeah. So there's photos. It's a real mix of all kinds of things in there. Yeah.
A few days ago, we had an author. I think it was it Vicky Allen, who was talking about rituals, and she'd been going through an issue in dealing with the loss of somebody, and someone suggested it's Leonie Charlton, that's right. And she was saying that going through, someone suggested, why don't you go through a ritual of like sort of saying goodbye or coming to terms with that. And on the face of it, it's a silly thing to do for most people, but actually these things are there because somehow they might connect with the human essence of what you're doing. And so proverbs, those things are quite good because they're it's just a silly proverb, but actually they're there because they in some way like hit some truth about not some technical truth, but some actual truth about human nature and lives and living. And so actually bringing something like that in to shed some new light on an otherwise baffling situation, I find that sounds great. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, no, I find that, and they're good just to sort of throw into the novel, because you can sort of move and suddenly move in a whole new direction based on what new light the proverb sort of shines on the situation. So yeah, no,
And all
they're
these
good. They're great.
this collection, I guess they're sort of vignettes and all sorts of things in this new book relating to were they things
Yeah.
that you wanted to talk about with this character, but never had the chance in sort of a straight story version, or what was your kind of motivation for bringing this together?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a whole bunch of stuff that when you're writing a detective novel, you just have to you've got to sort of move in a certain direction. And so I wanted to be able to talk more about the city. I wanted to, I've got some photos in there. So there's like a photo essay of Valencia. So there's a visual element. And also, I think it's, and also, yeah, I mean, there's like an interview with Max himself. So there's that, I can move in all kinds of new ways, which is really fun, because I mean, it's great writing detective novels. Yeah, massively. And there's a mixture of fiction and non-fiction in there. It's just incredibly liberating, because normally when you're writing in, say a detective novel, it's like the pace has to keep going. You got to just keep going, and you're moving towards that sort of inevitable sort of denouement. But with this, I can just sort of circle around and create a sort of it's like a mosaic sort of effect. And in fact, this book is volume 1 of a whole new series I'm going to be doing called Mosaics of Spain, where I'll be looking at all kinds of aspects of Spanish history, culture, life, everything from the discovery of the Americas to the route to Santiago to Moorish Spain, Jewish Spain. I'm going to be looking at all these things.
So
I like the idea.
Like a mixture of sort of fiction, non-fiction, mixing up genres to sort of give people. I guess it's about giving people an actual emotional impression of whatever and however you do that is kind of up to you.
Yeah, I think so. And also what you do is you get this sort of multifaceted sort of view of something. So it's like, maybe it's a bit like a cubist painting or something. You're looking at something from all different angles at the same time. Yeah. And that gives you a whole new perspective. It doesn't mean you don't have to just look at something in one particular way. So I sort of think of it as like, those silver balls they use in discos, and lots of little pieces of mirror sort of all stuck, So together, each little piece is sort of, you can look at each little piece and it has its own reflection, but put together, you create this other whole.
Disco.
Yeah, disco, exactly.
Disco. The new series, best described in Jason Stone's website as a disco on Spain.
That's right. Yeah, something like that. But I mean, I'm sort of calling it mosaics.
Yeah. That sounds marvelous. And
so that means you've got to do a disco track now, guys. I hope you realize.
Disco strings.
We might. And it's interesting as well, because you've chosen not to publish it with a publisher. Is that right? And instead, you've done something differently. Yeah.
So I mean, after 20 years with mainstream publishing, I just decided to kind of walk out the prison gates and sort of discover what life is like on the other side of the walls. And it's great. It's fantastic. Because there's no way a mainstream publisher would have done this book, because they're too bound up with their own sort of ideas of what categories you can write in, and what a book looks like, and how long it needs to be, and how many books you can bring out a year, or maybe they only want a book every 2 years. There are so many sort of restrictions on life within mainstream publishing, and suddenly I'm doing this, and it's like, well, I can bring out a book a month. I could do, I can do long books, short books. So I can mix fiction and non-fiction, and these are just it's like, it feels like breaking down walls, and it's wonderfully liberating. I mean, I was in the local bookshop here, and I was talking to the bookseller, she's a lovely lady called Antonia, and I was talking about this book, and I said, well, and she was looking at me going, well, where are we going to put this book? Because bookshops, they work like, publishers. It's like, well, we've got adult, young adult fiction over there, we've got poetry here, we've got history there, and eventually we sort of decided to it could go in the travel section. But because it just breaks genres, I think when you're creative, when you're naturally a creative person, you don't think in terms of genres anyway. You just do your thing, and then other people sort of come along and try to fit you into a category.
Yeah, Ken Humphreys says the proverbial disco sounds like a good title for something. Maybe that's the genre.
Great.
Proverbial disco.
one over the last few days, we've the topic of sections in bookshops has come up, and we decided on that show that there should be a romp section, for a good old yarn. Like, it's not a crime book, it's not a
Yeah.
adventure book, it's just a romp.
Sure.
Because I
Sure.
would go to the romp section first of all. Wilkie Collins would be in there.
How do the authors feel about being in the romp section? I would.
Well, the one we spoke to was very keen on being in the romp section, and I would.
I'd be
go to the romp
delighted.
section
I'd be,
first.
yeah.
Emma, how would you feel about that?
Romp.
Yeah. Is it rom-com or is it just
Just romp.
just romp? Yeah. Yeah. I think the new book I'm writing is the most rompy
Really?
thing I've ever written. So
Actually, we did a question from Lisa Lott Astrom. What are you writing now besides the radio play? In a couple of sentences, in a couple of words.
I was wanting to find out that.
You don't have to tell us if we don't want to. I know that's a thing too.
a romp. A romp set in the year 125.
Wow. Romp on.
There we go. Romp
Yeah.
on. It went. So Jason, it went in the travel section. Which I think is
Yes.
great, which I
mean,
think is
it's-
lovely because it's an impression. It gives you that disco ball of Spain. It gives you that mosaic. It gives you, I feel like from the way you're describing, even though it's sort of based around a fictionalized detective character and has various things, I feel like I would get a taste of the place through reading it in a way.
Great. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. Yeah. Hopefully that's what it does. Yeah, absolutely. Him, my character, what he's like, and the city where he works. Yeah, absolutely.
I know you've looked down. Have you been doing a blog? Is that right about Spanish culture? And
Yeah. So I do a thing called Wit and Wisdom of Spain, and also I send out a newsletter as well called Pearls of Spanish Genius. So I realized that after sort of 30 years of obsessing about this one country that I've got. I mean, actually, I've got all this material here, and there's some great stuff. And also because I have a very sort of I think I have a sort of maybe not unique, but a sort of special view of Spain because I view, the Moors, the Moorish period. That's for me that they're Spanish. I don't think of them as sort of a separate sort of chapter, which is what most Spanish people do, and the Jewish side of Spanish culture as well. So I look at all of these things, and there's this incredible richness there. I mean, wonderful, just wonderful characters and wonderful pearls of wisdom, wit, all kinds of things. It's fantastic. The very first person to fly was a guy called Ibn Firnes in Cordoba in the 800s. He built his own glider and took off. And most Spaniards have never even heard of this guy. But it's full of stuff like this, Spanish history, when you see it as a whole rather than just in this very partial way of sort of only Christian Spain, which is what most Spaniards that's how they view their own history.
And I guess coming from outside that, then Spain is everything. For you, Spain is everything. Do you have a what day are we? Thursday morning bit of. Do you have a proverb you could give us for Thursday morning? On
Sure.
An interesting path for the day.
Okay, so one of my favorites is a proverb goes, bien sabe el sabio que no sabe, solo el necio piensa que sabe, which means a wise man knows well that he knows not, only a fool thinks he knows.
That's Jason. That's wonderful. Can I hit you back with my Spanish proverb?
Is it rude?
No. Sorry about my accent. No somos nada y menos en la ducha.
Great. Yeah. We're nothing,
We are
and,
nothing.
and even less
Less
when we're
in
in
the-
the shower. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it's a real sort of male thing. It's a real male proverb, I think, yes.
Yeah, that was given to me by my friend Raymond, and it's the most I learnt Spanish for a year, and I've forgotten all of that, but I remember that.
Of course.
So there we go. So Jason, we don't have a Spanish detective in our repertoire.
Darn.
We do have an Ottoman detective, so we thought we'd play you.
Well, Jason Goodwin.
Yes.
Yeah, he lives just down the road. He's a good friend
Does
of mine.
he?
Yeah.
Oh, bless. Well, do say hi to him.
We're
sure.
also using his this tune for our theme music as well as the
Yeah, in the
morning
countdown
show
music.
start. So
Yeah.
the countdown music.
Great.
So
Okay, great.
so this is his Yashim is his Ottoman detective, and And when we were reading it, I think I just watched a few episodes of Danger Mouse, and can I say Danger Mouse is absolutely got nothing to do with this whatsoever. But it kind of, because it had that slight rompy feel to it, it's like an advent. You know, these stories are adventures they take you through, and I was like, well, what if Yashim was an animated children's cartoon and it needs some theme music? That was what was going through my head. So we wrote like an imaginary theme music for Yashim in the style of Danger Mouse.
Great.
And should we say that Yashim also has a cookbook that you can that you can cook some of Yashim's favourite recipes as well.
And in fact, over lockdown, we got it out and we definitely we cooked something from Jason from the Yashim thing. Can you pass me the ukulele? Right. So thank you, Jason. Thank you so much, and I hope I hope the new book goes really well. It sounds really fascinating, actually. Lovely. I've never been to Valencia. I would love to go, and I shall travel through your book.
It's a great city.
So this is called Yashim the Investigator. Yashim, always in the right place. Yashim the investigates. Yashim. Instrumental bit where wandering around the Ottoman castles. It's great. The animation here is just phenomenal for the song really going. Yashim, always in the right place. Yashim, he investigates. Yashim, he knows how to find. Yashim has eyes all around. Yashim, he's invisible. Yashim, go invincible. Yashim, he'll go anywhere. His foes, they must all beware. Yashim.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming to chat to us, all of you, today. It's been a real pleasure to spend the morning with you. We've had Stephen Rutt and his book, Wintering.
And do check out the films in the Wigtown Book Festival, and also the
Wild Goose.
The Wild Goose in Dumfries happening very
Could be
shortly.
a big goose.
Yeah,
Big goose.
Big goose, wild goose.
We've had Emma Hooper, who's doing many things. She's capable of doing lots of things. She's a superwoman, and she's got this play on Tuesday, and is writing a new book, and has a couple of fantastic books, some of our favourite books, out there already. And we've got Jason Webster, who we've just heard all about. So thank you so much.
Travelled to Spain through you. So if anyone is feeling a bit locked down and wants a bit of sensory Spain, then you know where to go. So good luck with all upcoming projects, everybody, and thank you everyone for tuning in. Do join us again tomorrow morning when we'll be joined by 3 more wonderful guests.
I have one more thing to say. Happy wedding anniversary to my mum and dad, who are listening. It was actually yesterday, but I was going to mention it today.
So thank you, everyone. I'm going to hit the credits and have a lovely rest of day.
Bye.
Bye.